Section 31 just plain sucks, with plots that just won't get unstuck. The pacing is slow, the logic won't flow. Now I'm sick and just don't give a fuck.
Hey guys, Michael J. Crawford here, and before we get started, first of all, let me say from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for all of you that have subscribed, that are enjoying these videos. We're up to 200 subscribers now, which is a great benchmark. It's a great place to know that we are heading in the right direction, and I'm very excited about the potential for the future. In celebration of our 200 subscribers, I also want to bring back an old friend. Well, friend may not be the right term, but a person who some of you who have known me from before may be familiar with. He is kind of a built-in fact checker, and his name is Herman Schmeckelbeck. Herman?
Hey, thanks, Salty. You know, I gotta say, it's really great to be here. I really miss all of you guys, I do. And, you know, the best thing is that Salty has decided to let me take over the channel from now on.
Last time we saw this explosion, and I didn't put any points on the board for the explosion then, and I didn't just now, because quite honestly, I want to kind of break this down a little bit. You see, I know that some people were probably thinking that I was upset that they survived all this, because obviously being on a starship that crashes would be fatal, right? And then they might say something like,
"But wait, Salty, don't you know, you can clearly hear ALOC say to do an emergency beam out, and you even see them materialize on the ground." Gotcha on that one.
And let me just say, that is a fair point. I actually kind of appreciate the fact that if you pay close attention, you can, in fact, hear ALOC say it.
Emergency transport.
So yeah, actually, good job there including that without spoon-feeding to us that they had a way to get off the ship. And if you look carefully at the crash scene, there is, in fact, a blink and you'll miss it shot of the two of them materializing on the ground. So yeah, great job, guys. You actually got a couple of things right here. But only a couple. And the problem is there's more than a couple of things at play here. Now, first of all, let's talk about the beam out thing. Because the only thing he said was
Emergency transport.
But note, he did not specify to the computer who to beam out, where to beam them to, and most importantly, not to beam one of them out. Based on what he actually says here, I would expect the computer to either just beam him out or to beam everyone out. But the computer beams him and Georgiou, however, leaves data node on the ship. In addition to this, despite the fact that a starship crashes into the planet, Datano somehow survives. At least long enough to die a horrible, agonizing death by fire. Now, there is one other little detail about this explosion that I'd really like to cover, and that is the simple fact that Georgiou and ALOC and Datano survived this explosion.
But wait, Salty. You understand, of course, that explosions are constantly being exaggerated on screen for the sake of dramatic license or artistic license. It's just a way of showing the story.
Well, Herman does have a legitimate point to make here. it's not enough for me to remove the red turds. You see, it is true that Hollywood in productions tends to exaggerate the look of explosions. Instead of an actual high explosive, they usually substitute gasoline in order to create an exaggerated fireball. For example, a grenade in the movies might look something like this. While the exact same kind of grenade in real life looks a little more like this. No less deadly, but way less dramatic. But in the case of the destruction of the Section 31 starship, I think that, well, this bomb completely devastates the entire bridge of the ship, as we see in the explosion.
Emergency.
Now, just accounting for all the shrapnel we see flying through the air here would have killed anyone 100 times over. But we even know that the explosion is powerful enough to blast through the hull plating of the ship. How do I know this? Because we see it from the outside. So yeah, safe to say there was absolutely no way they were surviving this explosion. Now that we finally got the explosion out of the way, I did want to mention something that was said in the comments from my last video. Richard Gale 1287 had an interesting take on one of the lines said in the aftermath of the bar fight when they first get to the surface of the planet. While our zany gang of misfits are standing around talking, well, an interesting line is said.
I'll interrogate him.
No. We cannot trust a single word this woman said.
Yeah, she cost us Mel.
Now, I had always assumed that, in fact, the line that Quasi says here was, yeah, she cost us Mel. Mel being the Deltan that we saw die in the earlier scene. However, I have to say I stand corrected, because Richard Gale 1287 fixed that line, and now I cannot unhear the correct version.
I'll interrogate him.
No. We cannot trust a single word this woman said.
Yeah, she cost us Mel.
So yeah, that definitely puts a different spin on things.
But wait, you see, I understand that it is kind of funny to suggest that she said smell instead of Mel, and I get it. It was actually kind of funny, I gotta admit, but there's nothing in the entire show that suggests that Georgiou caused an actual smell. Now, come on, you gotta admit I got you on that one. I gotta go find my inhaler.
Honestly, that's what I thought too. However, the beauty of modern computers is that you can zoom and enhance not only with video, but with audio as well. And this is what I found.
In my universe, there were always plotters.
You probably couldn't hear it, but notice what happens if we take away the actual music track.
In my universe, there were always plotters.
So it would appear that Richard Gate 1287 is correct. That it was about Georgiou creating a smell. I have to admit there's also a couple of things I neglected to talk about in the previous video.
And they'll come and they'll burn everything they touch and enslave the rest, because that's what the Empire does. Majesty, they learned well from you.
Now, this is another one of those moments that, for me, cements the idea that this show takes place prior to the original series. Because if it doesn't take place prior to the original series, if it in fact takes place in the so-called lost era, as people keep saying, then how is it that the Terran Empire would be trying to expand at all? Because in the first appearance of the Terran Empire, the Terran version of Spock is given the ultimate weapon in order to effect change within the Empire.
A man must also have the power. In my cabin is a device that will make you invincible. Indeed. What will it be? Past or future? Tyranny or freedom?
And from what we learned, well, it seems like Spock actually did, in fact, change the Empire.
While your Kirk was on this side, he met a Vulcan named Spock and somehow had a profound influence on him. Afterwards, Spock rose to commander-in-chief of the Empire by preaching reforms, disarmament, peace.
And so it would make absolutely no sense that Datano would suggest that the Empire learned well from Georgiou and was attempting to take over the Prime Universe if, in fact, at this same time, Spock was, in fact, the commander-in-chief of the Empire and was trying to accomplish peace. So, what the
Oh, yeah. You know, I really love this song. I just wanted to say, but wait. Yeah, maybe Spock enacted reforms, but there's nothing that says that the Empire actually listened to him. So there. Got you that time.
Well, sorry to disappoint you, Herman, but that's just not true.
It was quite a remarkable turnabout for his people. Unfortunately for them, when Spock had completed all his reforms, his empire was no longer in any position to defend itself against us.
So, in the Terran Empire mirror universe, Spock's reforms were completely successful, but because of this, the Empire was weakened to the point where the alliance of the Cardassians and Klingons, combined with the might, I guess, of Bajor, they were able to swiftly defeat the Terrans. Which means that it's impossible for this show to have taken place in the Lost Era, even though they keep telling us that it takes place in the Lost Era, because the writers obviously don't give a So you may be wondering, is there in fact a way within the current Trek canon to fix all this? And the sad thing is, yes, there absolutely is. And the reason I say it's a sad thing is just because the writers didn't bother to look any of this up. However, I think it would have been a far more interesting story if, rather than having the Terran Empire trying to reclaim this weapon in order to take over the Prime Universe, you have it so that Georgiou is trying to get this weapon so she can retake the Terran Empire from Spock. And we can have a mirror universe version of Spock, played by Ethan Peck, who plays Spock on Strange New Worlds. And the mirror Spock could, in fact, be the hero of the story. But, you know, wasted opportunities are wasted.
Whoever stole the godsend had a partner. It was someone here.
Which means one of us is a mole.
So keep in mind that the only reason that they truly believe at this point that one of them must be a traitor is because Datano...
Whoever broke into my room, whoever stole that weapon, they know what they know because they learned it from one of you.
The evil broker from the mirror universe, he told them so. Because, he's trustworthy and all.
Look, boss, if there's a mole, you know it's not me.
I mean, that sounds pretty moldy to me. I don't know.
Well, what fuzz, huh? My wife
Is about to lay our first litter of egg sacs. No, I have 190,000 hatchlings on the way, and I want them to live.
Look.
They spent $150 million to make this piece of shit.
the ship exploded, everyone was fine. Sure, why not? Someone from the mirror universe says the godsend is all mine. Yeah, I don't care. The good news is there will not be a series for Section 31. The bad news is with his review, I am only about halfway done. 150 million tossed into the trash. I can only imagine what I could do with that kind of cash. This movie is so bad it causes me physical pain. I cannot believe 150 million poured down the drain. Thanks to Data, we now know that in the team there is a mole. Sure, why not? Watching this crap, my soul is sinking into a hole. Yeah, they don't care. The good news is at least I am halfway done. The bad news is they want to make more Section 31. 150 million tossed into the trash. I can only imagine what I could do with that kind of cash. This movie is so bad it causes me physical pain. I cannot believe 150 million poured down the drain. While I hate this show, I will endure and I must continue on. And I can do it thanks to all my friends on Patreon. Herman Schmeckelbeck, Jason Rogers, Sean Gap Clone, Twinkle